a government plot to kill thousands, a plane hijacking resulting in disaster, and a sea creature that's also an escape artist. Are our shocking and fascinating stories rooted in reality, or just figments of our imaginations? Tonight it's time to test your abilities to decipher between what's fact or fiction.
The line that divides the factual from the unreal has long since blurred. The tales we once thought fantastical, now implanted as true. To decipher verity from the imagined, you must break from the ordinary and consider a universe where the outlandish prevails. Can you expand your mind to see beyond our perceived reality? Can you decide what's fact or fiction?
We all know that governments can't always be trusted, and world leaders have time and time again come under scrutiny for their questionable behavior. But would one really go as far as to intentionally murder its own citizens?
China is known for its strict and strange rules. Social media is heavily restricted, and until recently, families with more than one child were fined heavily. But it was possibly the 1930s ban on alcohol that upset people the most. For 7 years, it was illegal to buy potable alcohol, and the closure of the country's bars and drinking halls crippled the economy of many small towns. Depression gripped suburbs across the nation, and people wanted to turn to drinking to numb the pain. But of course, it was impossible for citizens to get their hands on alcohol. So some citizens got creative and found their buzz from unconventional places. Suddenly, the sale of industrial alcohol, the kind used to clean wounds and strip paint, went up. People went to pharmacies and do-it-yourself stores in droves to purchase the dangerous liquid in their desperate attempt to get just a little bit tipsy and take the edge off the monotony of life. It didn't take long, however, for the government to catch on to this ploy and to do their best to quash it. At first, they made the sale of industrial alcohol illegal in an attempt to stamp out the trend of drinking it. But still, people found a way around the ban, and a black market quickly developed. But of course, the government found out about this too, and they had had enough of their people's disobedience. So they decided to teach them a lesson once and for all by tainting the black market liquor. They made it lethal with a potion devised for that exact purpose, and anyone unwittingly drinking the concoction was consuming a deadly combination of kerosene, ether, acetone, and various other chemicals. It didn't take long for people to realize what was happening, and in total, almost 400,000 people died at the hands of their own government in their quest for a buzz.
China is renowned for corporal punishment, and everyone knows how dangerous it can be to break the rules. But did the government kill almost 500,000 of their own citizens simply over alcohol? Is it possible to get away with such heinous crimes without intervention from the rest of the world? Let us know what you think by voting using the on-screen poll, and leave a comment down below as we get ready for the second tale for tonight. Next up is a tragic plane hijacking in which over 100 lives were lost because of a simple mistake made by the hijackers.
When Ethiopian Airlines Flight 961 left Addis Ababa Airport in November of 1996, the captain commented to air control staff that it was the perfect day for flying. The weather was calm, the sky was clear, and the flight to Nairobi was set to be as routine as they come. That is, until 3 desperate passengers made a decision that would claim the lives of 125 innocent souls. The plane had only been in the air for 20 minutes and was still flying over African land when suddenly one passenger leapt from his seat and ran into the cockpit. Before anyone had time to react, he was inside and he slammed and locked the door behind him. While inside, the man grabbed the axe kept in the cockpit in case of emergencies and used it to threaten the pilots. In the meantime, 2 other men had taken control of the cabin, telling terrified passengers and crew members that they had a bomb and would detonate it if anyone tried to intervene. Inside the cockpit, horror was unfolding. The hijacker had demanded that the captain fly the plane to Australia, as the 3 men wanted to seek asylum there. The captain explained that they didn't have enough fuel to cover that kind of distance, but the hijacker didn't believe him and forced him to head east over the Indian Ocean. The captain continued to plead with the hijacker to listen to him, but he refused, and the captain had no option but to continue flying. Eventually, as predicted, the plane started to run out of fuel. In a desperate attempt to save the plane and everyone on it, the captain began circling the Comoro Islands, hoping that he'd be able to land there. The hijacker was furious that his demands weren't being met and attacked the captain, knocking the plane off course and back out over the ocean. By this point, there was no fuel left, so the captain attempted an emergency landing in the shallows of the ocean, while still being attacked by the deranged hijacker. The landing didn't go as planned, and the plane broke apart upon impact. 125 of the 175 passengers and crew on board died that day, including the 3 hijackers whose desperate stubbornness had caused the tragedy in the first place.
With the internet age and living in a post-9/11 world, we all know that plane hijackings aren't impossible, but sadly are actually a pretty common occurrence. So, perhaps this story is more for you history buffs out there. Did this tragedy actually happen, or is it part of our alternative reality? Let us know what you think by leaving a comment down below and by voting again using the on-screen poll. Now, let's prepare for our third and final story for tonight. Inky the Octopus will go down in history as the greatest escape artist of all time. Even Houdini would be proud of the lengths this little guy went in his quest for freedom.
The jailbreak happened at the Aquarium of Western Australia after a staff member accidentally left the lid of the tank slightly ajar. The little sly devil he is, Inky saw his opportunity for escape, and when night fell, he started his quest for a taste of that sweet ocean freedom. Staff think that under the cover of darkness, Inky slowly slid down the side of his tank and across the ground. He traveled more than 10 feet and somehow came upon the external drainage system, which was covered by a plastic filter. Once he'd completed the first stage of his journey, he somehow lifted the lid to gain access to the pipe, then took advantage of his lack of bones to make his body small enough to squeeze along 164 feet of pipe that led to the ocean. Nobody knows what became of Inky, but the staff at the aquarium liked to think that he wasn't unhappy, but simply curious about what else was out there. They were even hopeful that Inky would make a return. Okay, all right, we're serious. The article quotes, "You never know, says Yorel. There's always a chance Inky could come home to us." Oh, sorry, Yorel. We don't think Inky's coming back anytime soon.
Octopuses are solitary animals, so why would Inky go on a quest to see what else is out there if he already had Yorel? But seriously, how did he manage to navigate so well and squeeze through 164 feet of pipe? The more important question is this story based on real events, or do you think we penned it for your amusement? Wait no further. It's the time we've all been waiting for, the reveal.
Are you ready to find out if you can decipher between fact or fiction? Let's look back at tonight's 3 stories and find out which were born from reality and which were fabrications of the imagination.
First, we're heading east to China and to the story of a government purposefully poisoning its citizens with tainted liquor. Could the heads of state really have signed off on such dastardly behavior? Or is this story nothing more than fiction? If you said fiction, good job. We drew inspiration for the story from the United States alcohol prohibition, which lasted from 1920 to 1933. What isn't widely known is it inadvertently caused the deaths of almost 10,000 citizens by making people desperate enough to drink industrial alcohols that had always been, and still are, unfit for human consumption. Next, we're heading back to Africa and to the site of a terrible tragedy that was completely avoidable. Did the arrogance of 3 desperate men really cost 122 others their lives? Sadly, yes it did, and we didn't change any details about the story. Sadly, 125 of the 175 on board died that day. Finally, we're back with Inky the Octopus and his daring escape through 164 feet of pipe. Did the crafty cephalopod really find his way back to sweet ocean freedom? As funny as it sounds, this story actually happened. Again, we changed no details. This story actually happened at the National Aquarium of New Zealand in 2016, and to this day, staff still can't quite figure out how Inky successfully got away.
How well did you do in tonight's video? Did you look past the deception of our world and define the off-blurred line that struggles to separate lies from the truth? Let us know in the comment section below. And should you find the urge to test your perceptions again, be sure to subscribe and join us next time when we ask you to decide what's fact or fiction.